Assalamualaikum everyone. Talk of the day. Where there is no struggle, there is no strength. So all the strength that you get from different ways, that strength comes by your struggle. So not only as a student, but as a person, we need to work hard to do all our daily life tasks. Today we are going to start one of our interesting topic, that is the periodic table of the elements. We have arranged all of these elements in the form of columns and rows, that is known as periodic table. So basically periodic table is the arrangement of the elements according to their atomic number. Here there are different elements, like we have discussed so far, that there are 118 elements in total, and out of these elements, about 92 elements are naturally occurring elements, whereas rest of the elements we have synthesized them in the laboratory. Out of these elements, there are some of the alkalis, some are gases, so we are going to arrange them. We will discuss the periodic table in detail, that how we have arranged all these elements into groups and periods. The periodic table is also known as the periodic table of elements. It is a tabular display of the chemical elements which are arranged by atomic number, their electron configuration. What is meant by the electron configuration? The arrangement of the electrons and recurring chemical properties. So basically, we can define the periodic table as it is the table of the elements, that is a tabular display of the chemical elements which are arranged by their atomic number, electron configuration, and recurring chemical properties. The structure of the table shows periodic trends. The 7 rows of the table, called periods, generally have metals on the left and non-metals on the right side. The 7 rows of the table. So, where are the rows? Here you can see there are the 7 rows of the table. It shows metals on the left side and non-metals on the right side. And these 7 rows of the table are called periods. So generally periods have metals on the left side and non-metals on the right. The columns called groups. Here you can see in this direction, these are the rows. We said this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. These are the 7 rows like this. Okay, here these are the rows. And in this direction it is the columns, and column shows the groups. Okay, so the 7 rows of the table called periods generally have metals on the left and non-metals on the right. The columns called groups contain elements with similar chemical behaviors. 6 groups have accepted names as well as assigned numbers. For example, group 7 elements are the halogens, and group 8 elements are the noble gases. So here we can see this group 7 elements, these are the halogens. And what about the group 8? Group 8 elements are known as noble gases. Here you can see some of the interesting things about periodic table elements. Out of 118 elements, 90 are found in nature and remaining 28 synthesized in laboratory. Most of the elements exist in solid state at room temperature. So majority of the elements of the periodic table, they are mostly found as solid at room temperature. But there are some, like mercury and bromine, are only 2 elements which exist in liquid state at room temperature. So mercury and bromine are liquid at room temperature. 11 elements of periodic table exist in gaseous state at room temperature, whereas there are some gases as well. So out of 118 elements, Majority of the elements exist in solid state. At room temperature means the normal temperature of the room. Two elements exist as in liquid state. They are mercury and bromine. 11 elements of the periodic table exist in gaseous state, and they are hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. And many of these names you are very much familiar with them, like hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, helium. There are some new, maybe you are not aware of the neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. So these are the 11 elements which exist as a gases. More number of elements are metals than non-metals and metalloids. So this is another thing, that about 70 elements in a periodic table, they are exist as metals. So in a periodic table, majority of the elements, they exist as metals, other than the, and some are non-metals and metalloids. Gallium and cesium have very low melting point and exist in liquid state just above normal room temperature. Oxygen is the most abundant element in earth crust, followed by silicon and aluminum. So out of these 118 elements, which element is the most abundant in earth crust? That is the oxygen. So most abundant element of all of these 118 element is the oxygen. And then after oxygen is the silicon and aluminum. In the, we are talking about the earth crust. Nitrogen is the most abundant element in atmosphere, and like we know that about 79% nitrogen is present in the atmosphere, whereas oxygen is only 21% present, or carbon only 4%. So nitrogen is the most abundant element present in the atmosphere. Hydrogen is most abundant element in the universe, followed by helium and oxygen. And which element is the most abundant element in throughout the whole universe? That is the hydrogen. And then after hydrogen, it is the helium, and then third one is the oxygen. So these are the some of the interesting things about the periodic table elements, elements that are present in the periodic table. As we know that there are 26 English alphabets, and millions of books are written by using these alphabets. So as we know that there are so many of the different alphabets, and as we know that there are 26 English alphabets, and millions of books are written by using these alphabets. So alphabets combine to form different words which convey different meaning. Similarly, scientists have discovered 118 elements which form each and every known thing in the universe. Okay? Now the important concept given over here is that you are well aware and you have read millions of different words by using only 26 alphabets. Same is the case, there are only 118 elements that are discovered so far, and by using those 118 elements, we have everything in the universe is made up of all these 118 elements. There's nothing else in this universe. For example, if you talk about the wood, majority mainly it is made up of carbon and hydrogen. If you talk about the paper, if you talk about the laptop, if you talk about the any iron thing, any gold, any metal, anything we are going to discuss, all the things in the universe, they are made up of these 118 elements. If we have the ozone layer that is protecting us, that is protecting our environment from the harmful rays of the sun, that is also made up of all these elements. So what is important to know that there are in total, the periodic table shows all the elements, all the 118 elements that are found in the environment, and by which each and everything of that we know uh, of the universe is made up of. Elements combine in different ways to form different substances. And second thing is that in your grade 6 you have studied that all the elements, they are going to combine in different ways to form different substances. That same the one, like we have discussed, uh, we are using A to write so many things. Like A can be used for an apple, it can be used to write an ant. So same is the case, that it's the same elements, they combine with different elements to make different substances. So the elements join together in different ways to make different substances, and by which our universe, everything of the universe is made up of. Here you can see how many groups are there. We can find 8 columns, and these are columns are known as groups. Here you can see it is a group 1, it is the group 2, then these are transition metals. We're not going to place them into any group. These are the transition metals. Here it is group 3. These are the elements of the group 3, elements of group 4, elements of group 5, elements of group 6, elements of group 7, and elements of group 8. So here we can say there are in total 8 groups in the periodic table. This is important to note down that every element in all of these groups, for example, if it is in group 2, it must be having 2 electrons in its outermost shell. Got that? Yeah, we have discussed in our previous lectures that what is the electronic configuration. It is the arrangement of the electrons, and we have discussed that all the atoms, they can accommodate 2 electrons in the first shell, 8 in the second, then 8 in the third. But whenever uh, electrons, whenever we're going to see the different groups of the elements, we will see that, for example, for lithium, you already discussed that its atomic number is 3. So as it shows, it is in group 1. So 2 electrons will be placed in the first shell, and 1 electron is left that will be placed in the second shell. So same is case with all of these. In all of these elements, uh, all of these elements that are in the group 1, whether whatever the number is, for example, if it is 3, it is something else, it is else, even then all of these elements, they must be having 1 electron in their outermost shell. Maybe they are 18, they are arranged, and then 1 is left in the outermost shell. But same is the case with group 2. In group 2, all the elements of the group 2, they will be having 2 electrons in its outermost shell. You can arrange them, and we will discuss it later on the previous slide, in which we have shown how these are arranged. Similarly, in group 3, all the elements, they are having 3 electrons in its outermost shell. In group 4, all the elements have 4 electrons in their outermost shell. And in group 7, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, all of these, they are having 7 electrons in its outermost shell. And in case of group 8, as the name shows, 8, it means it is having 8 electrons in its outermost shell. The elements from atomic number 1 through atomic number 118, okay, that is the organization, have all been discovered or synthesized, completing 7 full rows of the periodic table. So all the elements of the periodic table, whether they are discovered or we have synthesized them, the first 94 elements, hydrogen till protonium, all occur naturally, though some are found only in trace amounts, and a few were discovered in nature only after having first been synthesized. Elements 95 to 118, 118 have been synthesized in laboratories, nuclear reactors, and nuclear explosions. The synthesis of elements have higher atomic numbers is currently being pursued. These elements would begin an 8th row, and theoretical work has been done to suggest possible candidates for this extension. Here we're going, the group 1 elements are known as the alkali metals. Here the alkali metals: lithium, sodium, potassium. So here you can see the alkali metals. The first one is the lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium. Here you can clearly see what I was saying before. I was telling you that all the members of the group 1, they are group 1, they will be having 1 electron in their outermost shell. For example, lithium have atomic number is 3, so it is having 2 in the first shell and 1 in the second. Sodium atomic number is 11, it is having 2 in the first shell, 8 in the second, and in the third shell it is having only 1. So why the how the elements are given their name, like group 1, group 2, group 3, group till group 8. They're given name on the basis of how many electrons are there in their outermost shell. Like for lithium, it is having 1 electron in its outermost shell. For potassium, it is having like its atomic number is 19. Here is a accommodation of 2 electrons in the first shell, 8 in the second, 8 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. So same is the case with francium. It is having atomic number like 2 in the first, 8 in the second, 8 in the third, then 18 in the fourth, then 18 in the fourth, 32 in the next, and 1 in the last shell. So all the members of group 1, they must be having 1 electron in their outermost shell. It doesn't depend how many shells are there. For example, here are only 2 shells, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 shells are there. And here you can see there are the shells and the subshells as well. But the outermost should be having only 1. uh, Basically, the group of family is a vertical column in the periodic table. Here you can see it is a vertical column. The group of family is a vertical column in the periodic table. Groups usually have more significant periodic trends than periods and blocks. Explained below. Modern quantum mechanical theories of atomic structure explain group trends by proposing that elements within the same group generally have the same electron configuration in their valence shell. So this is the thing that we are discussing. All the elements within the same group, like these are all the elements are they are within the group 1. All these elements, they are within group 1. So all the elements within same group, they have the same electronic configuration in their valence shell. So here you can see in their outermost valence shell, in their valence shell, they have the same electronic configuration, like they all are having 1 in their outermost shell. So we can say that all the elements in the same group, they tend to have a shared chemistry and exhibit a clear trend in properties with increasing atomic number. Although their atomic number is increased, like here it is 3, 11, 19, but they all are sharing their same chemistry and basic properties. They are the same one. So in this periodic table, we will see the alkali metals that are found in group 1. Alkali metals, there are some of the characteristics of the alkali metals discussed. They are silvery gold, they are soft compared to the metals, low density and low melting point. They are extremely reactive, especially in water. Valence electron, very easy to lose 1 electron. They have 1 electron in their outermost shell, and it is very much easy that if they are having only 1 electron in its outermost shell, so it is going to lose this electron. So it means that all the members of group 1 that are having 1 electron in its outermost shell, they can lose 1 electron, and definitely they will become cation. Yesterday we have discussed in that we have an atom, when it is going to gain an electron, it will become anion, and whenever an atom is going to lose electron, it will become cation. Why it will become cation? Because now it is having more proton as compared to the electron. So here we can see the alkali metals, it is very much easy for the alkali metals to lose 1 electron. Why? Because they have only 1 electron in their outermost shell, and they just donate their electron to any other, so that other should complete their. For example, sodium easily give its electron to chlorine, and there is a formation of the sodium chloride. And chlorine that is having 7 electrons in its outermost shell, it will get 1 and will complete its outermost shell. Alkali metals chemical properties, they are most reactive of all. There are different types of metals, and here group 1a, we are discussing group 1a that contains alkali metals. You have discussed it right now: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. They are most reactive of all the metals. They are never found as free elements in the nature. They are always bonded with an other element. So here we cannot found them as free elements. Reason why we are not going to found them as free elements, the reason for this is that in their outermost shell, they have only 1 electron. So if they have only 1 electron, they just try to make a bond with something else. Like we have just discussed about the sodium chloride is the table salt that we used in our cooking and daily life. So sodium will, as it is having only 1 electron in its outermost shell, so it is highly reactive. It will try to make a bond with the chlorine. So they are never found as free elements in nature. They are always bonded with another element. Must be stored in oil. to prevent a reaction with most air, इनको थोड़ा सा हमने preserve करना भी मुश्किल होता है. Why? Because if we are not going to preserve them, they are going to react with the other one. Atoms of the alkali metals have once valence electrons. Physical properties: they are soft, clay-like, shiny, they are ductile, malleable. What is meant by ductile? They can be made into wires. Malleable, they can be uh, make into thin sheets by using hammers. They are good conductors of the electricity. So these are the basic characteristics of the metals. Another important group that we need to discuss are the halogens. Halogens are is the group 7. It is a group 7 of the periodic table. They are the family of chemical elements that includes fluorine, atomic symbol F, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine. Near room temperature, the halogens span all of the physical states. Fluorine and chlorine are gases, bromine is liquid, and iodine is solid. So in this halogens group, these are the group 7 elements. Why we are going to call them group 7? Because all of these elements, they are having 7 electrons in its outermost shell, and they are, again, group 1 is highly reactive because it have only one, so it will definitely try to react with other. And same the halogens that are having 7 electrons in its outermost shell, they are highly reactive. Like we have discussed chlorine sometime before, that chlorine have only 7 electrons in its outermost shell. It will like to make a bond with the sodium to make sodium chloride, and similarly it will love to make a bond with the hydrogen to make hydrogen chloride. So why? Because it's in its outermost shell only 7 electrons are there, and it will try to complete its outermost shell. So the halogens are the highly reactive, and they have 7 electrons in its outermost shell. The family name means salt forming, from the Greek for salt, halos, and for generating the genes. The salinity of the oceans on Earth is due to, in large part, to such halogen salts like halides as sodium chloride and potassium iodide. So we can say that mostly this name halogen comes from this, that they are the salt forming. The 6 naturally occurring noble gases are helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, and the radioactive radon. Noble gases are typically highly unreactive except when under particular. These noble gases are present in group 8. They are found in our group 8. Why they are in group 8? Because their outermost shell is complete. So if their outermost shell, like they can only have 8 in their outermost shell. So if their outermost shell is complete, so they do not want to react with any other thing. So we can say that that they are typically highly unreactive. They do not react with other except when under some pressure, particular, if we are going to give them some particular conditions, so they are going to react. Otherwise all the elements found in the group 8 that are known as noble gases, they are highly unreactive. The noble gases make up a class of chemical elements with similar properties under standard conditions. They all are odorless, colorless, monatomic gases with very low chemical reactivity. And we have also know their name: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon. Here you can see these are the noble gases with their atomic numbers. Here are some of the characteristics of these gases, that what are they having.